Good morning, Marcelino. I'm glad you find these videos helpful, and they're easy for me to create, so I think this is a good way to go. So I'll just jump right in. To start, I just noticed this private bucket articles. We're not actually going to need to assign articles to a private bucket. We're just going to put feeds in the private bucket. So I'm just going to delete this line. I should check if you used it anywhere else. Right, you've created a table and stuff. So I'll clean this up just a second. So I'm just creating a migration to drop the refinery organization private bucket articles here. Okay, and the other place I see you're using this private bucket articles is right here in the admin feeds feed. This is when you are displaying a feed and you're deciding whether or not the organization can follow or unfollow this. But I'm a little bit confused by this line here. So what I read this as is you're finding the organization and you look at its private bucket articles and you're checking if there's an ID. So an article ID that matches the feed ID. So these are two different types of IDs. I think this is an article ID, and you're checking if there's a feed ID that matches the article ID. So I think you'd get unexpected results with this. So we're going to need to change that. So I'm just going to change it now to if true. And delete all that. We'll come back to it. And then I'll delete this line in the organization model for the private bucket articles. So I actually committed this for you. So I dropped the table, and this is just an outdated. We need to remove both of these columns as well at some point. Right, this was removed from the DB schema, so that table is gone. And then I removed the reference to private bucket articles here, and removed the line within the organization to the has and belongs to many relationship. Now this is going to be very similar to create private bucket feeds. So I've copied it in from the one you had there. It's just going to be a refinery organization private bucket feeds. You're going to have an organization ID and a feed ID. And then in the organization model, it's going to be private bucket feeds. And the class is going to be a refinery feeds. And here, instead of saving the ID organization, I would just save the organization. And this would be So now you have the org here, and if you go into the feed, instead of this if true, we can say if org private bucket that includes the feed. Private bucket has the feed, so it already includes this, so we should go the other way around. The private bucket includes the feed, then we want to say it is checkmark, it's the green checkmark, and we can choose to unfollow it. But if it's not within the private bucket feeds, then it's not there, so we can choose to follow it, so we have the gray checkmark. Okay, so then to finish this off, you're going to need to link this these check marks to not the just a link to the feed, but you're going to want to do the include and uninclude just like you did for the blog articles. So you'll need to create the routes for that, and so that these will actually add them to the private bucket feeds or remove it from that private bucket feed.